right, parents, welcome back to another episode of Teenager Tuesday.
Yes, we love Teenager Tuesdays. It's been Will and I during the series on friendships, and we're so excited about it. I'm Tisha Solomon, the student pastor at the Frisco East Campus, and I'm here with Will Perry.
Hey, I am the lead student pastor here at Hope. And as always, please like this, share it with everybody that it would be helpful to. One cool thing, Tisha, a parent actually at your campus shared with me that every week, she picks up her kids from school and they listen to Teenager Tuesday on the way home.
That's amazing.
Which is so cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think it's like kind of solidifying some things. You know, when a parent says something, a teenager's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But when someone else, all you parents understand this. When someone else says the exact same thing, they're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so said this and it was revolutionary. And you're like, well, I've been saying that for 6 months.
You know what's funny is we'll do the same thing.
We really will.
Tisha, you'll preach and say the exact same thing for a year, and then a guest speaker will come in, say the same thing, and
you're like, that was so good.
Wow.
Yeah. I can show you my notes, bro.
Yes. So you're not alone in that, parents.
No, you are not. But that's really cool that she does that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Love it.
Well, we're finishing up our series on friends, and if you've been with us, we've been kind of leading up to this about talking about bad friends.
Yeah.
What do you do with bad friends? And, it's kind of even a hard topic to really nail down because each kid is so different that a parent might look at a friend differently, and bad doesn't necessarily have the same definition.
Right.
So, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's hard to really nail down what a bad friend is. I think that you know your student, though, and you know what they're going through, and also you know what kind of influences that you want for them to have in their lives. So you kind of just have to take all that together, assess it, and kind of just go from there. Yeah,
it is. And every parent is like, I want good friendships for my kids. Well, really, I think in my experience, it starts where every parent is like, let's have good friends, or let's have friends.
Let's have friends.
And then, that's the starting point. And then it's kind of a oh no, this might not be the best friend, best
for
influence, for my
Yeah.
kid. And then, so today we're going to kind of answer, what do you do with that? What can a parent do with that?
Yeah, I love that. I think, our first one that I want to talk about is just pray. I think sometimes we do a lot of things. We talk a lot of talk, but sometimes we just forget to pray. And I think just coming before the Lord and just praying for your kid, praying for your students, just praying that God would bring good, godly influential friends who love Jesus into their lives. I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do. And so whether it's currently happening where they have friends or maybe and they're good friends, or they have friends, but they're maybe not the best influence, I think we just pray. God, you do what you need to do in my kids' life. We've taught them. I've showed them. I've hopefully modeled good friendship for them. We've gone to the Bible and looked about what it is to be a good friend. And so, can you just do what you can do? And hopefully that's what you need to do. And you won't need any of the other tips that we give you, but chances are you might need some more of these tips
That's true. Yeah, it's very true. Number two thing is pretty simple that you've probably already begun, if you've been going through the series, is to simply just talk to them about it. Tisha, one thing that you put in this content for today that I think is really good is having them answer the question, why are they friends with fill in the blank?
Right.
And not a incredulous way of how dare you be friends, but really to help them define, why do you see them as a friend? Or better said, why do you see them as a good friend? What do you see as good about them? Is it, we both play an instrument and that's it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because I think there's a lot of different ways. Common interest is definitely a big one. But just because you have the same common interest doesn't mean you're a good friend. Or that they're a good friend, So
getting attention does not mean good influence.
No, it does not.
Yeah, for sure. Number three, again, we won't spend a lot of time on this because we talked about it a lot, but modeling friendships, we've talked about this a lot during the series.
Yeah, we really have.
They will watch you. So how do you interact with your friends? And how do you talk as a parent? How do you talk about your friends when they're around too?
That's good.
Because I think that's going to show them what to repeat more than I think we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Number 4 is, just remembering that your kids' friendships are not necessarily about you, right? Like maybe you don't necessarily understand why your student is a friend to some person, but maybe that is the type of person that your student needs in the moment. And if you've taught them well and you've walked through what it looks like to be a good friend and to have good friends and you've gone through biblical friendship and all of those things, like you have to trust that they're choosing the right people, right? And just because maybe that, your kid's friend, you don't necessarily get along with their parents, or maybe they remind you of someone that you had as a kid, a friend as a kid, and they weren't that great. That doesn't mean they're not going to be a good kid to your friend, a good friend to your kid.
Yeah.
It just means like, hey, give them a little bit of space to kind of work it out. And remember that, you have to give them that room. It's not about always what you want, even though you want them to have good friends.
Right.
That person might be a good friend. You got to give them the space to know that, though.
Yeah, that's true. Which it takes some trial and error for them
really
too.
Does.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Because a role of a parent is also to protect. So then it gets really fuzzy and gray, and it's like, Holy Spirit, lead me, because I don't know. Yeah.
And it is. It's really a lot. Again, number one, of just praying, God, give me the wisdom to do what I need to do, to help when I need to help, to Holy Spirit, should I step in or not?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about my kids having friends is that I get to befriend them.
Yeah.
That's number 5. Befriending them. Yeah. I love every night talking to my kids about their friends at school, who they're hanging out with. Wednesday nights when they get to be with their small groups and their small group leaders and the friends in their small groups. I love knowing their friends' names. I love knowing what they like. I love having them over to the house. I want my house to be a safe place for all my kids as friends. I just want that. And that's what I pray for. God, let this be something that is something, right? That my home is a place of peace for my kids as friends, and they want to invite their friends over, and that they're okay with me like popping in and saying hi and, creating events or environments where I'm not just dropping my kids off, but we're going and we're doing something together with their friends. It's one of my favorite things, because what that does is it's giving me compassion for them. And it's helping me also be a part of their world and say, hey, I love it when, Gabe did that, or Lexi did that, or Bella, I love being able to do that. And so if you haven't done it, man, befriending your kids as friends is literally one of the greatest things I love to do.
That's great. That's great. A while ago, I had my 7th grade boys over. And we did steak night, and some of the dads were there. That just got to hang out, get to know some of the other boys that their sons are friends with in the small group.
They're all in the same small group.
And it helps like personalize. Maybe there's been stuff with your daughter where she said, oh, so-and-so are in drama, and you knew the friend.
Right.
So then you were even able to help out instead of taking everything as like face value.
Right.
Or
and even
perception.
be able to say like, well, do you think that's what they meant? Because I know her, or I know him. And they maybe just were having a bad day, like you get to help navigate that.
That's true.
So fun.
How many friends do students think are bad friends? Well, really, they're just misunderstood too.
A lot, a majority of the time, probably. And sometimes you just need to have a conversation to work some stuff out. I got to do that as an adult with my friends.
True.
Number 6, this one is a little bit more difficult, but it's step in. Sometimes, if you're uncomfortable with your students' friends based on maybe something that they've done, bullying, it's harmful, they're influencing them in a specific way, or there's dangerous behavior that you've noticed, you're going to have to do something. And it's very hard, and you do need to approach it with care, because relationships are sticky, right? Human beings they're human beings, and so nobody is perfect, but there are times when maybe your kids' friends have crossed the line in the relationship, and you know that the best thing is for them to part ways. And I think that there's several things you can do when this happens. One, just hopefully you've been talking to your students about and helping them feel equipped to have conversations on their own that are difficult, right? This is a part of life. Having difficult conversations is a part of life. And you might just have to talk to a student and your student and say, hey, you need to have this. Was this okay? Do you think it's okay when this happens? What does this look like? Do you think that this person is the best influence because of this, and teaching your students to have difficult conversations of, why did you do this? I didn't like the way this made me feel. I don't know what the future of our friendship looks like, but equipping them to be able to have that conversation, because not everybody has to be friends, right?
No, and there's seasons of friendships too. And
absolutely.
And like you're saying, the rare occasion to step in is when you really feel that nudge, and not every single time in every single aspect, but even a few days ago. Me, you, and a student pastor from another campus were talking about two guys who are friends who we were like, they're not good influences for each other right now.
Yeah.
And I talked to one of their dads and was like, hey, they're requesting to be in the same small group, the same whatever
it is.
And was like, this is why, and this is what we think. And the dad was like, that's great, thank you.
Yeah.
You know? So there are rare occasions to feel like you're overstepping when really you're stepping in to help them.
Right. And as a parent, you are still teaching them.
Yeah.
You're still helping them figure it out, and their brains are still being formed. And so they maybe don't know how to handle something. They may not know how to process it in a healthy way, but if you're helping them figure it out, it's just so much better for them and for you, because you get to be a part of it too. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you are going to have to step in and maybe call up a student's parent because, you know, they don't know about something dangerous that their kid is doing. And that it's just so hard and it's so difficult. But there are times you're going to have to step in. You can't just
many of you probably
let
already
it happen.
have.
Yeah. And many of you could probably preach this from the mountaintop
So
for sure.
If for nothing else, we want to say like, great job stepping in.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
I know that's not comfortable. I know that creates more work for you. Emotional money is spent, you know?
Yeah.
But man, you know, you're doing a good job, parents. You are.
Yeah, you are. Okay, one more we're going to go through really fast. You don't have to worry about being cool, just being consistent. I promise you that's the thing that matters. That's what we tell our small group leaders, at Hope students. You know, as a parent, you know, it's your job to worry. And, you know, stranger danger looks different for teenagers than it does for 5-year-olds. And we totally get that. And, you know, sometimes, we try so hard to be cool that we forget about the consistency of just showing up, being there, leading and guiding them, saying the exact same things, which is hopefully coming from a biblical place and from the Holy Spirit, and always pointing them back to the Bible. And man, you have to let them know that you care about them. And sometimes, you know, we want to be so cool that it's like, yeah, cool, just do that or whatever. But then the consistency of what we've been teaching them and training them goes out the window.
Yeah, it's true.
So just, you know, don't be cool, be consistent.
Yeah. I saw a tweet this week that actually said, it was I forget who tweeted it, but they said it took me 20 years to realize that the cool parents were really just bad parents.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
Oh my gosh.
Well, parents, you know, we said this at the beginning, but again, just pray.
Yeah.
Always asking the Holy Spirit to lead and to guide you. That's really all for this week. We're so thankful that you joined us for this Friends series. Pass it on to your friends. Do what you got to do. Go back and listen to it again. But don't forget, you can do this. You're not alone. God is with you, and so are we. We'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, have a great week.